I got a trivia question for you, and this should be easy, but yeah, I have trivia questions for Sims from time to time because he calls himself a football historian, and then every time I ask him a trivia question, he whiffs. So, since we're going to be in Pittsburgh on Sunday night for Packers Steelers, trivia question is this: who is the only rookie quarterback who has ever beaten Mike Tomlin's Steelers in Pittsburgh? Do you know?
Let me think on that. It was probably Dak Prescott, 2016.
Yes.
I was there.
Boy, I thought you were going to seize up on that. Yes, you were there. You were there. You know it well.
And Mike, it was one of my favorite games I've ever been involved in as a player or a coach. I don't know if you remember the details of the game, but it was something else. Obviously, that environment there was electric. It was so much fun to be a part of the game. But it was the year that Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott were rookies, and we had won like whatever it was, 9 in a row. And we go up there, and they were good, obviously. They had Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown. They were hard to stop. And we were toe-to-toe with them. You know, offensively, we were kind of up and down the field, but we could not stop them. I mean, they were scoring at will. But I'll never forget it. Mike Tomlin kept going for 2 for some reason. I think it was just the advent of analytics, and people were making the argument you should always go for 2. And we couldn't stop them for a lick. And they would go down there, and they'd go for 2 after the touchdown, and we'd stop them. And so as a coach, you're on the sidelines, and the guys are coming off the field, and it gave us a little bit of a boost. We couldn't stop their run. We couldn't stop their pass. I mean, they were just, you know, as Nick Saban would say, you know, shit through a tin horn, you know, and it was just, it was amazing. And I think we were ahead, and they went ahead, and Dak led a comeback towards the end of the game, and then they came right back and went ahead, and we had to come back again, and we were in field goal range, and to kick the game winner. We ran a play called duo, and Zeke broke through. And I'll tell you, I'll never forget the reaction of Zach Martin after he scored that touchdown. I mean, it was like euphoria. It's like we're 10 years old running around winning the CYO championship. It was an incredible day.
I think Tomlin is 15-1 against rookie quarterbacks in Pittsburgh. I think that's the number after they beat Dylan Gabriel a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, the only time was that game you're talking about. And I remember when he started going for 2 all the time. I think it was when they moved the extra point back to the 15 from the 2, because the idea was we want to persuade teams to go for 2 more often. He leaned into that more than anyone else. And there was a time where they were going for 2. They were too predictable about going for 2, because I think you should be unpredictable in all things all the time. They were getting to the point where they were too predictable about going for 2. He was going for 2 so often when they first moved that extra point back 13 yards.
Yeah, it was amazing, though, because the psychology of the game, I learned so much from that, because, again, we couldn't stop them at all. But our guys felt this lift because I think they were 0 for 4 on 2-point plays. And we're like, hey, we're hanging in there. You know, and we're doing everything we can to make adjustments on the sidelines to slow them down. But our guys felt like that gave us a little bit of a lift and gave us a little cause for optimism. We kept banging away. But it was an amazing, amazing game. And that rookie quarterback, Dak Prescott, was incredible.
And he's already in year 10. And this is something I saw in the research notes that NBC Sports sends around every week. And this is another trivia question, but I'll give you some hints here because I don't expect you to know the answer to this. He has beaten every team in the NFL except for 3. He's already got a pelt on the wall for 29 of the 32 NFL franchises. Who are the 3 teams he's never beaten?
Oh, wow.
One's easy because he's only ever played for the Cowboys. So he's never played against the Cowboys. So there's one.
Good. Thanks for that help.
Yeah. There's 2 others.
Well, this is not well thought out, but maybe Buffalo.
Hey, there's one. There's one. And the other one, if you think about why it would be mentioned in the research notes and you think about the upcoming schedule, the clouds will part quickly.
Is it Denver?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bills, Broncos, and Cowboys. It's pretty impressive. I think Rodgers has never played the Packers. He's got the chance to join the small list of quarterbacks who have beaten all 32 franchises. Dak will have to change teams at some point to get there, but he's got a chance to take another one off the list this weekend when the Cowboys visit the Denver Broncos. And give me your big picture evaluation of what Dak's managed to do so far this year, because you hear the MVP chatter from time to time. The offense has been clicking. The issues are defensive. But what's been your thought of the guy that you tutored when he first got started as a 4th-round pick out of Mississippi State 10 years ago?
Yeah, my big macro thought is there's so much noise in the world and there's so many agendas with how people evaluate things. And if people would just pull back and look at this guy objectively for the last 10 years, they'd see that he's been a really, really good quarterback. And, we talked about that game his rookie year in Pittsburgh. He was a 4th-round pick, like you said. He was coming on our team to be the 3rd-string quarterback and a guy that we're going to develop for the future. And Kellen Moore got hurt, then Tony Romo got hurt. We lost the first game against the Giants, and then he won 11 in a row. And then we lost again to the Giants, and he ended up being 13-2 essentially because he didn't really play in the last game against Philadelphia. And for me, he's been on that pace throughout his whole career. And he's just played at a really high level. He's played at a level where he's made everyone around him better. And when the team has been good around him, he's had a chance to go make playoff runs. And early on in his career, to me, he played very well in the playoffs. That rookie year, he was toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers. We lost at the end, and then a couple of years later, we beat Seattle. He made the big plays at the end of the game. We end up losing to the Rams. And, the playoffs in recent years have not been as good. He had the really good performance against Tampa. And the other games against San Francisco and Green Bay haven't been as good for him and for the team. But, year in and year out, he's among the best quarterbacks in the league. And the Cowboys get so much scrutiny that sometimes people lose sight of that. And this year they have a really good supporting cast around him on offense. If you were to ask me going into the season, you would say, there's a lot of resources on the offensive side of the ball. They end up drafting the lineman from Booker from Alabama in the 1st round. They had CeeDee Lamb. They go get Pickens. Ferguson is a really good tight end. I love Javonte coming out of school. The question for him was whether or not he was healthy. So, all that stuff has come together, and he's the point guard of it. And he has an amazing way. I think we talked about it the other night. His greatest strength from day one, he's an incredibly coachable guy, and he understands the concept of aggressively taking what the defense gives him. And he's an excellent decision maker. He's very disciplined. If the defense is playing soft, he throws the ball underneath. If he has opportunities to take one-on-one shots, he's going to take them. He reminds me of Troy Aikman that way. Troy was an incredible decision maker. A mini camp in May, he's going to throw the ball to the flat if that's where the ball's supposed to go. He's going to take the shot down the field if that's where the matchup takes him. And I think Dak has a lot of the same traits. And when you put a good supporting cast around him on the offensive side of the ball, he's going to play at a really, really high level. On the other side, defensively, I felt like they were a little bit under-resourced coming into the season, and that was before the Micah Parsons trade. So you take him off the team, it's like, they're going to get exposed a little bit, and that's been an issue. And I think for them, they have to find a way schematically to say, hey, we can hang in there in these games and keep the scores down, because their offense is plenty good enough to win these high-scoring games. They just can't give up too many explosive plays and make it too easy on the other side of the ball. They got healthier the other day against Washington, but Washington was really banged up. Their top 3 receivers were out. So, we'll find out more as they go. But, from my standpoint, Dak Prescott has played at a really high level since 2016. I think he's a fantastic player.
And you nailed it back in May. We called on you the morning that the news broke that the Cowboys were trading for George Pickens. And I never forget how you explained it, because I'd never really thought of it this way. He'd never had a quarterback like Dak. All due respect to Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph and whoever else had played quarterback in Pittsburgh since George Pickens arrived. He got there after Ben Roethlisberger, but the quarterback was going to be the difference. And Pickens has been phenomenal so far. And I'm sure it has a lot to do with Dak, not just coaching him and leading him, but knowing when to throw it to him.
No doubt, both on and off the field. When Dak sees those matchups, the one-on-one into the boundary, Pickens by himself with the safety in the middle of the field, he's going to go there. And Pickens has an amazing ability to make plays over his head. Dak played with Dez. He understands how to give those guys a chance down the field. And then when you have that play, all of a sudden in critical moments, throw him a slant, because they have to play high on him. He breaks inside and he can win. So, Dak will go to him in those situations. He'll deliver balls that Pickens can make. But I also think, it's the off the field stuff. It's helping Pickens understand, his role and how important he is to the team winning and just communicating with him. Dak's an amazing leader that way. And again, I saw that right from his rookie year. He's not always the most boisterous guy. He's not always making a speech, but he connects with players. He connects with staff members. He connects with coaches and brings the best out in them. And certainly he would, with his receivers. Guys love playing for him and with him. And I think the fit there with Pickens has been fantastic.
Okay, so that ties into one of the stories of the moment.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.